Dear readers, the first volume of the book, Transforming Everything into Money, The Secret to Escaping Poverty for True Success and Wealth, which I released not long ago, has received a remarkably positive response. Many readers have gained the values they sought through the book, and their heartfelt thanks are an invaluable gift and a tremendous spiritual motivation for me. The majority of the book's content focuses on conveying messages about mindset, offering a wide range of knowledge. I understand that knowledge is crucial. Where there is knowledge, there is money. However, I also recognize that taking action to apply these mindsets and truly turn everything into money is even more important. Some readers, when encountering the profound insights of great minds presented in the book, found it challenging to fully grasp their value. It was only when they began to act that they truly started to understand and feel it. This is precisely why Transforming Everything into Money, applying a money-making mindset to achieve true success, wealth, and happiness, was created. It delves deeper into practical application, making it easier for anyone to utilize these mindsets and apply existing formulas to turn everything into money. We must reiterate that money is not the ultimate goal. Rather, it is a means to achieve higher objectives and missions. The word money in this book represents the values and assets you aspire to possess. Transforming refers to specific methods and formulas, and everything signifies the readily available resources around us. I believe that once you finish this series, Transforming Everything into Money, you will hold the key to unlocking success, wealth, prosperity, and true happiness, equipped with a comprehensive system of mindset, methods, and tools. You will be able to turn anything into money. No matter where you are or what your circumstances, you will be able to master your life. Just like in all other areas of life, if we want to achieve success and reach our destination, we must clearly know and understand who we are, what we have, and where we are. Only then can we know what to do and how to do it. Self-awareness is an incredibly necessary and important endeavor, akin to determining what seeds you hold, whether the environment for planting them is suitable, what needs supplementing, and how to prepare. If you plant seeds, how will you care for them, and how long will it take for them to grow, develop, and bear fruit? If you don't clearly define these things and simply act on instinct without knowledge or preparation, it will be very difficult to succeed. You might even waste time and effort. For example, imagine you love fine wooden crafts. You want to open a woodworking shop to indulge your passion and earn money from it. But you lack knowledge about different types of wood, and you have no expertise in production techniques like cutting, carving, or spraying paint. You simply import and sell. Not only that, but your shop is located in a poor, remote rural area with a low standard of living. So, can you sell your products and make a profit? The answer is undoubtedly no. Passion is essential, but it must be accompanied by knowledge, skills, good methods, and strategy to achieve success. A truly successful person is someone who creates value, brings benefits to others, to the community and society, and is recognized by everyone, not just someone who benefits themselves. Indeed, think about it. A scientist is considered successful and recognized by society when they bring useful achievements and contributions to society, the community, and humanity. For instance, they might invent a machine that frees manual laborers, saving time and cost. Such achievements will bring them both wealth and renown. The more valuable the achievement, the greater the money and fame. Conversely, someone who earns a vast fortune, becoming a dollar billionaire through illegal dealings, trading banned substances that harm others' health and corrupt the moral and cultural values of society, cannot be called successful. Therefore, the results a person achieves depend on their capabilities, along with their purpose and motivation. If the purpose is good, it will lead to good products and solutions. Conversely, a bad purpose will lead to negative actions and consequences for society. A person's good purpose originates from their compassion. Compassion, also understood as sympathy or benevolence, involves sensitivity or emotions aroused when witnessing the suffering or instability of a person, an animal, or a situation. Compassion drives people to overcome their own limitations, to help others or creatures overcome pain, or to change things for the better. This helps both the helper and the helped feel happier and more joyful. For example, when we see someone in distress, we immediately feel a desire to help them, without any base ulterior motive or expectation of repayment. Seeing an animal struggling to escape danger or death, we feel pity and sorrow, wanting to save them so they can be free. Witnessing problems that affect the lives and future of society makes us want to do something to resolve them and make society better. Thus, the qualities of compassion are patience and wisdom, kindness and perseverance, warmth and determination. A compassionate person is also an ethical person with a pure heart. It is the guiding light and the driving force that helps them find solutions to problems. And it is also the path that leads them to success. So, if you want to turn anything into money, look at it and identify its problems. Use your compassion to understand what needs to be done. If your current abilities cannot solve it immediately, what should you do and how should you do it to resolve it? A person's success is shaped by many factors: favorable timing, advantageous location, and harmonious human relations. Depending on each person's environment, circumstances, resources, and aptitudes, the process and degree of success will differ. Below are 12 prominent factors contributing to success, often found in successful people around the world, which you can refer to. Asterisk 1. Compassion. Asterisk compassion is an aspect of human ethics, character, and personality. These are core values, the very root of a person. To succeed, one must have ethics, and truly successful people are undoubtedly those with good ethics, character, and personality. Those who appear successful but lack good ethics and character are not truly successful. Asterisk 2. Desire for success. Asterisk success is something everyone desires, but only those with a strong desire for it will achieve it. Because desire is the motivation that drives us to act to achieve results, to be ready to overcome all difficulties and challenges to turn wishes into reality. Only action produces results. So, if your desire isn't strong enough to become a burning aspiration, you won't have the courage to face difficulties and challenges, and therefore, you'll find it very hard to achieve success. Asterisk 3. Self-understanding. Asterisk perhaps many of us think that understanding ourselves is a given, and no one can understand us better than ourselves. But this is not always entirely accurate. We may understand our desires, our emotions, moods, or thoughts, but we don't always understand our true capabilities. When faced with challenges we haven't overcome before, we often just estimate and assume whether we can or cannot, and then decide to confront or give up. And it is this very thing that makes us limit ourselves and prevents us from daring to step out of our old comfort zone into a new one. In reality, humans are not born able to do everything. All skills are the result of a process of training. For example, listening, speaking, reading, writing, walking, communicating, all the way to doing something and earning money. Everything must be done step by step, from basic to advanced, and a capable person is someone with the most skills. So be brave and test yourself against difficulties to know your abilities, what you have, what you lack, and what you need. If you just sit there and dwell on speculation and fear, you will never achieve success. Asterisk 4. Confidence. Asterisk confidence is an important asset on every journey and throughout every person's life. Without confidence, we certainly cannot move forward, cannot be brave enough to progress each day and step forward, but will always depend on others. Think about it. If someone is always fearful of everything, lacking confidence in themselves, they won't even be able to take care of themselves, let alone achieve success or be a pillar for others. Seeing a bicycle and thinking you can't ride it means you'll never learn to ride. Seeing a deep body of water and thinking you'll drown means you'll never learn to swim. Therefore, always maintain a spirit of confidence in everything in life, like a child learning to walk with excitement and joy. Don't be afraid of falling, don't be afraid of pain, because the desire is always greater, overpowering and conquering fear. Asterisk 5. Decisiveness. Asterisk sometimes, hesitation and indecision are what prevent us from achieving success. The psychology of fear still makes us want to find a safe solution, and thus we don't fully commit our trust and determination. There are even people who, due to a moment of hesitation, lose an entire career, having to start over and spend many more years striving. We need to understand that decisiveness is not recklessness or mushian, but rather firmness and boldness. When we have prepared thoroughly and completely, and the time is ripe and suitable, we must make decisions decisively and quickly to proceed with implementation. During implementation, plans will be adjusted as needed based on the actual situation. Because no matter how perfect a plan is, if it's not applied in reality, it won't yield any results. Don't wait until you're good to do something. Do it to become better. Asterisk 6. Flexibility. Asterisk flexibility is also an essential factor for a person's success. Because any method or formula, no matter how perfect, needs to be applied flexibly to suit real-world conditions to produce results. For example, you design an outfit with identical details and sewing methods, but each person will have different measurements, and you must flexibly sew according to those measurements for the outfit to fit well and look beautiful. Or you cook a dish with a ready-made recipe, but you must adjust the seasoning and ingredients according to the eater's taste for the dish to be truly delicious. Asterisk 7. Determination and perseverance. Asterisk most people are very enthusiastic when starting a new job, a new project, and in that moment, we silently promise ourselves to persevere to achieve success. However, after a period, when faced with difficulties and challenges, our determination gradually wanes. We may even forget what we promised ourselves, and then we abandon our goals without realizing it. In this way, our lives often fall into deadlock, and we feel unlucky and unable to succeed. Therefore, maintaining enthusiasm, determination, and perseverance is one of the extremely important factors determining our success. Asterisk 8. Eagerness to learn. Asterisk most of us are born and raised in similar ways. Although there are differences in initial circumstances and conditions, what truly creates the difference between individuals is learning. Learning here is not about educational qualifications or degrees, but about the lessons we learn in life that shape who we are today. In the same challenging environment, some people acquire survival skills, develop, overcome adversity, and help others. Others only learn how to compete, fight, and undermine others to gain personal benefits. Still others, after a single event, can grasp life's philosophies and rules, while some go through almost their entire lives circling around petty calculations to satisfy trivial desires. Therefore, we need to cultivate an eager spirit for learning, continuously developing ourselves to improve, and living a truly meaningful and happy life. Asterisk 9. Daring to fail. Asterisk surely all of us want to succeed in everything we do to achieve success easily. No one wants to experience failure. But in reality, that is impossible. Because failure is the mother of success, there must be failure for there to be success. That is an inevitable law. I dare to affirm that no one in this world has ever succeeded without experiencing failure, only whether the failure was big or small, minor or severe. Even geniuses like Thomas Edison had to experience 10,000 failures before inventing the light bulb that brought light to humanity, or Einstein was once expelled from school and rejected when applying for admission. I myself have experienced countless failures before achieving initial results. There have been books published that brought no revenue, not even covering their initial costs. But all those failures are lessons for us. We learn that a certain approach was incorrect and how we need to act to achieve better results. Yet, many of us fear failure, so we don't dare to act. Consequently, we resign ourselves to mediocrity and stay within the shell of safety that we ourselves define. Imagine if we don't dare to introduce a product for fear of rejection or criticism. If the product isn't good, we can't sell it, nor can we know what to do to improve it. If we don't dare to drill a hole in the ground for fear of wasted effort, how can we ever find a well full of water? Remember that failure is inevitable, but it is the prerequisite for success. No one can guarantee success. Even when the finish line is just an inch away, unexpected incidents can occur, rendering all efforts futile. But don't be discouraged by this. Dare to fail, dare to face challenges, because then you hold the opportunity for success. If you don't dare to fail, you certainly have 0% chance of success. Failure in reality doesn't take everything from us. At the very least, we gain valuable lessons, and those are the ingredients for success. Don't fear failure, don't fear losing money, because failure is a challenge and money can be remade. In fact, when you succeed, you can regain 100-fold the money you lost. But focus on accurately determining your direction and goals to avoid wasting time, because time is finite. Don't lose your freedom, because when you lose your freedom, you can't do anything anymore. And importantly, don't lose faith, Don't lose your dreams, my friend. Asterisk 10. Taking responsibility. Asterisk once you dare to fail and dare to face difficulties and challenges, then dare to take 100% responsibility for your life. Don't blame circumstances, don't blame the environment, conditions, or anyone else. Because that won't help you improve, it might even prevent you from growing. Understand that everything that happens in your life, the people you meet, and the situations you experience, one way or another, are attracted and created by you, and you must take full responsibility. Be genuine and authentic in all things, pouring all your effort, hard work, and focus into it. Don't just try. Because when you just try, you will act superficially, not giving your all. You will be filled with doubt, hesitation, anxiety, and you will surely choose safe solutions to keep yourself within that comfort zone, unable to create breakthroughs. That will waste your time. Time is finite and never returns in our lives. Asterisk 11. No procrastination. Asterisk once you've made a decision to do something, do it immediately. Don't wait until you're good to do it. You must do it to become good. Whatever it is, big or small, if you procrastinate until tomorrow, you will continue to procrastinate until next week, next month, next year, or even the next lifetime. And the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. The habit of procrastination will slow you down, even wasting an entire lifetime. Asterisk 12. Service and contribution. Asterisk by common sense, we often put our own interests first, prioritizing the benefits and best things for ourselves and our families. Only when we have plenty do we think about sharing with others. And we think that successful people are always willing to share with others because they are already too abundant. Do those who are willing to give unconditionally or do things for social service do so out of passion, or because they don't have to worry about food, clothing, and money? Although sometimes something awakens compassion within us, we often reluctantly let it go, assuming someone else will do it, and rationalize that we are still struggling and not capable enough to be generous or help others. Such thoughts are not necessarily bad, nor can they be considered selfish. Because as humans, we all seek benefits and a happy, comfortable life. It's just that we haven't understood the true nature, so we act contrary. In reality, giving, serving, and contributing not only don't diminish us, but they also make us have more and are the fastest path to success. As we have said, the higher the value we give to society and the community, the greater the money and reputation we receive. So, even when we are not yet successful, let's be ready to serve and contribute. Let's give most selflessly, not just money or material things, but solutions, actions, gestures, words, smiles. Some things are free but priceless to someone at a certain moment. Part 2. Mindset to turn everything into money. Asterisk Chapter 1. Building self-worth. To say that humans are the most important factor, determining all success and failure in life and society, is probably not wrong. Indeed, we ourselves determine the success or failure of our own lives. The people within a team or organization determine the success or failure of that organization. Humans also create relationships and the daily development of society. Therefore, human development should always be the top priority. Each of us, to achieve success, must first develop ourselves to mature, to become valuable, to be able to master our lives and achieve what we desire. A person's self-worth comprises the essential and important aspects that make up an individual, including health, intellect, willpower, ideology, dignity, personality, individuality, and physical appearance. Self-worth also includes the things each person values and considers important to themselves. When these goals are achieved, we feel satisfied with our work and life. Conversely, if these values are not aligned, we feel tired, bored, and do not achieve the expected success. Each person has unique characteristics and a different system of self-worth, creating a distinct identity unlike anyone else. Each person's abilities and mindset are different, so each person will have unique roles and missions, contributing to life's diversity and society's overall development. Therefore, the process of building self-worth for each individual also differs. We must recognize our unique values to choose the right and most suitable direction for development. A person without a good singing voice will find it difficult to become a famous singer. Someone who struggles with numbers will find it hard to enjoy or be effective in accounting or bookkeeping. A person who desires to live honestly and contribute, but is forced to use dishonest tactics to meet sales targets will constantly feel tormented, guilty, stressed, and uncomfortable. Of course, all skills require practice to acquire. But if the training is based on existing aptitudes, interests, talents, and passion, then that skill will be perfected much faster and more proficiently. Therefore, to achieve success faster and shorten the time, we need to recognize, build, develop, and perfect our self-worth. In other words, we need to understand who we are, what we have, and what we lack to know what we need to do. As we said, to turn something into money, look at its existing problems. Use your compassion to understand your desires. Is your compassion great enough to turn that desire into a burning aspiration? Then, compare it with your system of self-worth to know your capabilities, at what level you can solve that problem, and how to solve it at a higher level. The greater your compassion, vision, and ability, the clearer you will identify societal and market problems. You can only see and solve a problem when you are greater than the problem. The extent of your compassion determines the scope of your problem solving. For example, you want to turn the road you're traveling on into money. So look at what problems it has, what difficulties you and others face when using it. The road is congested during rush hour, making movement difficult. Cars emit a lot of exhaust fumes, polluting the environment. Traffic accidents sometimes occur due to blind spots. When it rains, the road floods, making movement impossible. There's no parking when needed, and so on. If your vision and compassion are only for yourself and your family, you will only come up with solutions for yourself. For instance, building a high barrier in front of your house so water doesn't pool there but flows elsewhere. Using obstacles to block cars from entering the area in front of your house. But if you have greater compassion, thinking of more people, you will find ways to solve congestion and flooding for the entire road or even the entire city. You will find the root causes to fix them. For example, a small bottleneck ahead prevents traffic flow and causes water to pool when it rains. The solution is to widen the bottleneck, clear the drainage to make traffic smoother. If you cannot do it alone, you can propose it to local authorities, call for support from surrounding households, from philanthropists to join hands in solving it. This benefits everyone, including you. The money you receive depends on the scope and extent of your idea, initiative, and action. Another example, you want to turn the very air around you into money. So, what are the existing problems? The air is polluted with toxic emissions, smoke, and dust from factories and construction sites, noise, or extreme weather that makes people suffer from seasonal allergies or the busy, stressful industrial life that leaves people tense and exhausted. If you have the ability to offer a solution by inventing an air purifier or an air conditioner that reduces smoke, dust, and noise, you will certainly help people and society while also generating a lot of money. If your capabilities don't permit that, you can offer simpler solutions, such as improving the environment with suitable plants, or opening a healthy entertainment venue like children's play areas, reading spaces, places for meditation and relaxation, healthcare, guiding yoga, or meditation exercises to help people balance their lives. In short, all useful and feasible ideas and initiatives can generate money for you. Remember that whatever you have compassion for, find a solution for it, and that is how you can create money. Depending on our individual characteristics, we can build our system of self-worth in unique ways. However, it must always be in harmony with natural laws and the ethical and legal standards of the society you live in. Below are some general suggestions you can refer to. *1. Mindset. Broadly speaking, mindset is the process of creatively reinterpreting reality in a mental form. More specifically, mindset refers to the way we analyze, reason, compare, solve problems, and interact with the outside world. Through mindset, we can easily generalize objects, events, and phenomena to then think, examine, and solve individual problems. To acquire this ability, we must go through a process of learning, observation, training, and accumulating knowledge in life. A person with a good mindset will have a better way of evaluating, perceiving, and solving problems. Someone with strong logical thinking and observation skills will recognize the laws governing all phenomena in nature and society, and know how to apply those laws to solve problems. Thus, they will find success more easily. Therefore, no matter who you are or what special talents you possess, you must build your value system based on the laws of nature and society. In the first book, I also discussed these laws, such as the law of cause and effect, the law of attraction, and the law of supply and demand in the market. And because human understanding determines human achievement, you must have the right mindset to achieve true and sustainable success. Asterisk 2. Ethics. Asterisk ethics are the root of humanity and the most important foundation for developing all aspects of oneself. President Ho Chi Minh once said, "Having talent without virtue is useless. Having virtue without talent makes everything difficult." Therefore, we need to develop our self-worth based on an ethical foundation. Ethics encompass moral awareness, moral behavior, and moral relationships. Thus, the scope of ethics is not just about adhering to societal rules, principles, and norms, but also lies in conscience, compassion, character, personal views, and thoughts. Therefore, an ethical person will transform everything into money based on ethics, conscience, and compassion, and this is entirely consistent with the laws of nature and society. Asterisk 3. Health. Asterisk health is one of humanity's most precious assets. Without health, we cannot realize our desires and plans, nor can we master our lives. Health includes physical health and mental health. Both are very important. Therefore, whatever you do, you must prioritize maintaining and ensuring your health. Dedicating a fixed amount of time each day to exercise and healthy habits will certainly not hinder your work progress. It will even help you focus more and feel more enthusiastic in your work. Asterisk 4. Expertise. Asterisk you cannot be a know-it-all because you are not a machine. General knowledge is important, but if you know a little about everything but nothing in depth, it won't yield results. You must have deep expertise in the field you are working in. For example, if you are a doctor, you must have medical knowledge. If you are a teacher, you must have pedagogical knowledge. If you are a business person, you must have knowledge of products and the market. Therefore, once you determine your direction and goals, you need to dedicate time to study, research, and gain in-depth understanding of that field. Remember, where there is knowledge, there is money. Asterisk 5. Skills. Skills are the ability to apply human knowledge and understanding to accomplish something or solve a problem. Therefore, no matter how much knowledge and good mindset you have, if you don't know how to apply them to life and work, you cannot create results. Skills are not innate, they are perfected daily through practice. A child is not born knowing how to speak, but through interaction with the surrounding social environment, they learn to speak, sing, and later refine their communication and presentation skills. Someone new to a job will be slow and clumsy, but after a period of continuous practice, they will become proficient and skilled in that job. Thus, a skilled person is someone who does a lot, and the best way to perfect skills is to practice every day. Asterisk 6. Emotional management. Asterisk emotional management is the ability to recognize one's own emotions and understand the emotions of those around them, thereby knowing how to adjust emotions to maintain harmony with the person opposite or in certain situations in a reasonable way. Emotional intelligence is also a form of intelligence, and reality proves that people with high emotional intelligence, EQ, tend to succeed more easily than those with only high intellectual intelligence, IQ. A person with the ability to manage emotions will clearly understand others' feelings, and from there, adjust their behavior to impact them appropriately. And this is a skill that everyone needs to have, and it can be perfected through training. There is a saying that emotions are the #1 enemy of success. Therefore, to achieve success, you absolutely must learn to control your own emotions. Asterisk Chapter 2. What is your solution? We've talked about solutions. They are a crucial component in the formula for turning everything into money. So, what criteria must your solution meet? Asterisk 1. The value of the solutions must exceed the value customers pay. Perhaps the common psychology of most people is to feel delighted when they buy a bargain, meaning the money spent is less than the value of the item. Some sellers exploit this customer psychology to offer low-quality products or use tricks like inflating prices, then offering discounts or huge promotions to sell goods. Although we all know that you get what you pay for, producing high-quality products naturally incurs high costs. But if, for profit, product quality is compromised and tricks are used to deceive customers, That is unethical business practice and certainly cannot lead to long-term and sustainable development. So, how can product quality be ensured while the price remains attractive? The answer is to add value to your product or service, creating surplus value. Typically, the cost of producing a product includes raw materials, labor, transportation, or generally, the cost of producing the physical form of the product. This cost cannot be higher than the selling price, as that would result in losses for the business. If the value a product brings to customers is only equivalent to its cost, selling it at a higher price will certainly be deemed expensive. Conversely, consider the same physical product. If it incorporates additional functionality or intelligent, convenient features, even if the price is slightly higher than the original product, it is still considered cheap. We can compare value and cost with some examples below. Example 1, asterisk a customer spends 1 unit of currency to buy a bottle of water. They receive the equivalent value of 1 liter of water, used for essential needs, and when the water is consumed, that value is gone. If the seller wants to increase the price of the water bottle tenfold, they must add more value to it. For instance, by adding trace elements, minerals, and electrolytes to help quench thirst, detoxify, cool the liver, support disease treatment, and benefit health. The value customers receive could be 10 times the initial amount. Example 2, asterisk there are 2 phones relatively similar in size and details but different in features. One can only be used for basic calls and texts. The other integrates smart, convenient applications like internet connectivity, Wi-Fi hotspot, camera, voice recorder, music player, and can even replace a computer. Clearly, the cost of raw materials for production and shipping might be the same, but their values are different. Customers will naturally accept a much higher price for the smartphone than for a regular phone, perhaps many times over, yet compared to the benefits they enjoy, the money spent is still very small. Thanks to the smartphone, they can manage work even from home, pay bills without needing to visit a payment center, and shop without going to a store. They save time and effort to rest or do other things. Clearly, the value they receive could be hundreds of times the product's actual cost. Example 3, asterisk a good book initially costs about 100 units of currency. After reading it, the customer gains valuable knowledge and lessons. From that knowledge, they can create products and solutions worth thousands, tens of thousands, or even millions of units of currency. Not only that, thanks to the book, they can change their mindset, transform their lives, and help many others change their lives. Thus, the surplus value they receive is not just 1,000-fold, but immeasurable or priceless. So, instead of producing low-quality products, inflating prices, then offering discounts and promotions, the smarter solution is to increase the value of the products and services you provide. This will benefit you, your customers, and society as a whole. Asterisk 2, solutions must be optimal and superior. A solution is considered optimal when it is deemed the best, most suitable, and most convenient to the highest degree. In manufacturing and design, the principle of optimal solution means meeting the most design criteria, such as highest functionality, most aesthetic appeal, most utility, simplest and most compact, yet with the lowest cost. At the same time, these features must be superior and outstanding, making it convenient for customers to use, easy to remember, easy to operate, safe, and user-friendly. By adhering to this principle, we also meet the aforementioned criterion that value is greater than cost. For example, you observe the hardships of workers who labor continuously for long hours in fixed postures, or long-haul drivers who certainly experience fatigue and pain in their legs, arms, or shoulders. You want to create a massage device to help them relax and alleviate aches during breaks to ensure their health. So, how should you design this product? It certainly cannot be a bulky device that is difficult to carry, nor can it be one with complex wiring that requires electricity to operate. You should prioritize a small, compact design that can be handheld, pocket-sized, and easy to use. If the device uses a motor powered by energy, it should have a battery compartment or be rechargeable. Even more optimally, it could be a mechanical design that customers can use anywhere. You could design massage heads that roll with adjustable depth settings to create different pressures. Additionally, you could design a small compartment for massage oil or warming oil. When the rolling heads move, a certain amount of oil is released, helping to relieve pain faster. Customers can easily massage themselves effectively without needing to visit massage parlors. Asterisk 3. Solutions must be systemic and highly efficient. The larger the market problem and wider the scale, the more a solution needs to be systemic and highly efficient. For example, you see farmers struggling to sell fruit during peak season due to an excessive amount of ripe fruit, which cannot be harvested or sold quickly enough and cannot be preserved. This leads to price drops, spoilage, immense waste, and wasted effort for them. If you want to help farmers in a small area like your village, you could open a small processing facility to dry, package, and sell the fruit promptly. Since the quantity isn't large, you can sell it quickly without accumulation. The number of farmers you help isn't many, and the money you earn isn't much. But if you want to support farmers across a province, a region, or even the entire country, you need one or more processing factories. Along with that, a large workforce and a vast market for processed products are required. This also necessitates synchronization in the processes of purchasing, transporting, preserving, preprocessing, manufacturing, packaging, and distributing. Furthermore, you would need production licenses and marketing and advertising strategies. Clearly, to operate on a large scale, you must build a synchronized and highly efficient system, and your ambition must be equally high. To meet this criterion, you need to prioritize the intangible aspect of the solution, reducing its tangible nature. The intangible aspect of a solution lies in the ideas, initiatives, and inventions that are applied and integrated into features, utilities, convenience, flexibility, and ease of application. The tangible aspect is the physical state or infrastructure of the product. The intangible aspect often accounts for 80% and the tangible aspect for 20% of the solution's value. Thanks to its intangible nature, a solution can easily be transformed into other tangible forms, applied widely, and developed sustainably, enduring over time. For example, when Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, over 80% of its value lay in the invention itself and 20% in the physical form of the light bulb. To this day, countless light bulbs have been produced, with many new versions, designs, and innovations by subsequent generations. But they are still based on Edison's invention, and the world still mentions his name when referring to this great invention. Therefore, if you want your solution to endure and be competitive, instead of copying and following trends, you should create your own solution to set trends. You must know how to leverage resources to create significant surplus value for your solution and product. Returning to the example of agricultural product processing above, we can see that if you open a small processing facility at home, you can utilize your family's vacant land. Procurement and transportation can be handled by the farmers themselves. On a small scale, you can personally produce, package, and sell. You only pay for fuel costs, and the money you earn is based on your own efforts. But when you produce on a large scale, you need to rent additional locations, hire labor for production and management, invest in machinery and production lines. Thus, initial costs will be very high, requiring large sales volumes and a broad market. This, in turn, incurs costs for distribution systems, advertising, marketing, sales, and after-sales service, not to mention costs like storage and inventory. Therefore, the larger the scale, the more cumbersome the system, the greater the pressure, and the more challenging your work becomes. So, leveraging resources is very necessary because this will help optimize the surplus value of the solution, increasing value, reducing costs, simplifying the apparatus, and promoting diverse industry development for society. There are many ways to leverage resources. For example, for human resources, you can partner with a human resource supply company. That company will ensure the quantity and quality of personnel, manage, care for, and pay employees. Your task is to pay the contract with that company. Clearly, working with one entity is simpler, more efficient, and saves time than dealing with individuals one by one. Regarding capital, you can leverage financial institutions and banks with suitable and mutually beneficial terms to reduce financial pressure. Or you can transfer the system, franchise your brand, or create intermediate business spaces for suppliers. In short, the smarter, more flexible, more streamlined, and more optimized your solution, the easier it is for you to succeed. Asterisk 4. Solutions must be service-oriented and for others. We need to understand that all the products, solutions, and utilities we use every day are the results, efforts, and contributions of past generations, and those living in our society today. Currently, you are using a smartphone that helps you communicate, work, entertain, and solve problems anytime, anywhere. That is the result of the inventor, manufacturer, distributor, telecommunication service provider, payment service provider, customer support service, transporter, and electricity provider to keep it running. Similarly, the car you are using is also the result of the manufacturer, distributor, transporter, fuel company, transportation system with the efforts of road builders, and even banks that facilitate money flow for you to buy the car and fuel. It can be said that everything in your life bears the mark of others' efforts and intellect. Therefore, when you live in this world, you must embrace a spirit of service and contribution. That is how you repay life, repay society, and help others. Especially when you want to earn money from society, want to turn everything into money, this spirit must be even greater and more intense. You must work with a great spirit and responsibility, with heart, passion, and readiness to give. Whatever you have compassion for, serve that cause. Society will not only reward you appropriately for your contributions, but will also uplift you and help you shine, becoming greater. Asterisk 5, linked to social spirit and responsibility. Originating from a spirit of social service, we need to link our actions with responsibility towards society. Your contributions to society at a given time may be useful, but they must also bring long-term benefits or at least not create negative consequences. For example, you create an entertainment space or product that helps people relax, refresh, and regenerate their labor power to work more effectively. But that space or product must be wholesome, beneficial, good for physical and mental health, and not cause any negative repercussions later on. Especially, audiovisual products should incorporate educational and humanistic elements, as they influence the thoughts, character, and minds of viewers, especially children. These are some basic criteria for solutions that you can refer to and apply to your own. Depending on your self-worth and individual circumstances, apply them flexibly for a better fit. The more widely accepted and used your solution is, the more successful you will be. However, you need to note that your solution must be appropriate for the environment in which you offer it. Indeed, no matter how good and optimal your solution is, if it doesn't fit the environment, it cannot be effective. For example, you design a very smart and convenient mobile food and beverage cart that can serve hundreds of meals and drinks daily, very quickly. But if the market you serve is a remote rural area or a mountainous region with sparse population and low economic conditions, it will be very difficult to sell goods and realize its utility. Instead, you should provide agricultural support products or transportation vehicles, which would be more useful. Conversely, with the mobile vending machine product, if you place it in environments like hospitals, schools, parks, or tourist areas in large cities, your solution will certainly help many people and be better received. Thus, researching and understanding the environment and market is also essential when creating solutions. You must identify your current environment to apply appropriate resources and methods for success. The solution needs to create new and practical demands for society. A compact device that can replace and integrate functions such as personal information, communication, work, shopping, bill payment, entertainment updates, ensuring safety, replacing books, and utilizing public utilities. Instead of carrying bulky items, customers only need to carry this one compact device. That is something customers are ready to embrace. At the same time, the product itself will create demand for customers when they understand its benefits and value. The solution needs to create a trend, thereby forming styles, habits, and, at a higher level, culture in society to promote its development and progress. When your solution satisfies customers and generates a need for use, it will quickly be shared and widely spread through the most effective advertising channel, word of mouth. At that point, the solution will create a trend, a style, and even a habit. And if it has a unique character, suitable for the environment, it can even become a culture passed down through generations. Regarding resources, utilize and exploit existing resources and borrow more. Many people believe that readily available resources are what they themselves possess. But in reality, you can use existing resources from nature. The universe, such as natural resources, light, wind, water, tides, minerals, landscapes, or readily available societal resources like human intellect, the wisdom of great minds, traditional spirit and culture, community strength, existing technology platforms, such as inventions that have been recognized worldwide and used by everyone. Borrowed resources that you can use include the labor of others, the time of others, the knowledge of others, the money of others, and relationships. Society has a division of labor, and people are free to choose their professions. Society rewards your contributions accordingly, and you also pay for what you borrow from society. In fact, all industries and fields in society are interconnected and borrow from each other. For example, you use solar energy to create a useful device for everyone's needs. To produce the device in large quantities and on a large scale, you need to borrow capital from credit institutions, financial organizations, rent locations, hire labor, use existing technology platforms and applications, and pay for them. Essentially, these are borrowed resources. Your value here is the idea, initiative, and invention. Therefore, don't worry about resources. Focus on the solution. When your solution has value, resources will naturally coalesce for you to turn your idea into reality. Chapter 3, Spreading Your Value. All the achievements of humanity that we enjoy today are also due to widespread dissemination and replication over time. However, there are also many highly valuable achievements preserved in esoteric forms, enjoyed by only a select few. Some achievements, due to their limited spread, are forgotten or lost over time, and some values never even have the chance to be known. That is truly regrettable. Therefore, when you create a valuable solution, you absolutely must spread it, not just for your own benefit, but also for the benefit of society and the community. There are many ways to spread your value to make it known to more people. It can be proactive, passive, intentional, or accidental. However, you should be proactive in spreading your value, especially when you don't yet have many achievements for others to actively seek you out. Even businesses with established names and reputations in the market still launch new solutions with strategies for introduction, communication, and promotion to inform customers. Below are some suggestions for spreading value that you can refer to and apply. Publicly announce and assert ownership, *. You need to widely and publicly announce your solution and product through appropriate information channels, depending on your role and position and the nature of your solution product. This could involve introducing it to friends and family, reporting to management, posting information on social media platforms, registering trademarks and copyrights with state agencies, or holding press conferences. Such widespread announcement will help your solution product become widely known, and at the same time, assert ownership to protect your rights and interests, as well as prevent overlapping ideas and inform others to choose different approaches. Create a story to be passed down, *. When information about a product or solution is presented to customers in the form of advertising or a dry list of features, it's hard to create a deep impression and touch their hearts. However, if customers learn about the product through a story with interesting, humorous, captivating, or touching details, it will easily evoke their emotions and make them remember it longer. When they hear about the product, they think of the story, and vice versa. Most outstanding human inventions and achievements are closely associated with stories about their creators, like legends. For example, when Thomas Edison's invention of the light bulb is mentioned, we think of his story of 10,000 failures. Mention Newton and the law of universal gravitation, and we remember the story of the apple falling on his head. Mention the physicist Archimedes, and we think of the story of him in the bathtub with the exclamation, "Eureka!" Today, we also often refer to famous personalities and successful entrepreneurs through their most prominent stories. A story implants itself in the mind, evokes emotions, and serves as a pathway to other detailed information. When listeners are captivated by an interesting story, they become curious and want to learn more about what lies beyond. Sometimes they will actively seek information about you without you needing to do much promotion. Create a wave, a trend to attract customers, *. Many customers often don't pay attention to new products introduced by businesses, but only use products once others have tried them and given good reviews. Conversely, Many customers are always enthusiastic about new products. They want to be the first to experience new services and conveniences and are ready to embrace them with excitement. If your solution, product, or service satisfies these customers and meets the criteria of most customer segments, you can easily create a wave or trend that attracts even new customers. Even customers who don't fully understand the product may want to use it to experience it, sometimes just to show that they are not outdated compared to society. For example, a new smartphone is released with many superior features, capable of replacing a laptop, making work convenient for users. For those who frequently work on computers and travel often, this is a wonderful utility, and many consider it a symbol of successful people. Some people, even if their work doesn't require all the features and utilities of that smartphone, still want to own one, simply because they admire that role model and partly to demonstrate their grasp of social trends and their modernity. Easy recognition asterisk. 1. If your product or service has a design similar to other products of its kind or is not distinctive, customers will find it difficult to differentiate, remember, and recognize your product. Therefore, choose designs that are highly recognizable, unique, and distinctive to make an impression on customers. However, there's no need for excessive complexity, as the most essential aspect remains the creativity and superiority of the solution or product you offer. For example, Apple's recognizable image is simply a bitten apple, but it's an image that cannot be confused with any other brand. And the creator of that image himself admitted that this distinctive feature is simply a recognition highlight. Ensure high applicability, convenience, and ease of use asterisk. When choosing products, customers always prioritize flexible, compact, and easy-to-use products to save time and space. Therefore, even if a product is very good but difficult to use or bulky and inconvenient, it won't be chosen by many people, except for those in specialized professions. For example, a health index monitoring device that helps people control the increase or decrease of disease risk factors. If designed simply, compactly, and easily with a few operations, and can be carried to work, outings, or travel, helping them proactively manage their health anytime, anywhere, will meet the needs of many people. Conversely, modern, professional medical equipment that is bulky and can only be used by specialists will only meet the needs of a limited number of customers, such as medical facilities and hospitals. Therefore, depending on the environment and market you target, choose the appropriate solution design and method of spreading value. Bridge geographical and time gaps by creating the best circulation spaces asterisk. For example, customers want to use your product or service, but have to travel tens of kilometers to find a point of sale. In many cases, they will no longer have the need. Guidance and training asterisk. When a new product or service is launched, apart from a segment of customers who actively seek information and have knowledge in that field and can grasp it immediately, the majority of customers still need to go through a process of guidance and training. If marketing and advertising are the steps to approach customers to attract interest and stimulate their desire to own, then the guidance and training process is a deeper, more important step that helps create effectiveness in usage and retains customers, encouraging them to continue using, exploring, and engaging with us. Therefore, the training process must help customers visualize the results and benefits after use, accompanied by detailed usage instructions, troubleshooting tips, and ways to handle difficulties during use. When customers clearly understand and know how to use it, they will be motivated to use our product or service. For example, when customers buy a product, they receive an accompanying user manual, along with information about a support hotline and instructions. Additionally, for educational and intellectual products, information about specialized books and advanced training courses is often included for customers to research and learn more deeply. Beyond the proactive methods of dissemination mentioned above, you need to constantly pay attention to the quality of your products and services, regularly update and upgrade new features and applications to suit customers' usage purposes at different times. In reality, some good products naturally spread their value without needing the seller to actively promote them. For example, I myself have published books that have been reprinted millions of times, even though I did not run any communication campaigns for them. This is because the books themselves contained values that readers felt compelled to share with others as a gesture of gratitude and something that should be done. And my job is to make the book even more valuable with each reprint. Asterisk Chapter 4. Creating spaces for your values to spread. An essential condition for spreading is circulation space, just like everything else in this world. A flower needs air and wind to spread its fragrance. A body of water needs a current to flow. A fire needs air circulation to burn. If sealed off, no fragrance will emanate, no drop of water will flow, no flame will ignite. And so it is with your value. The larger the space you create, the wider your value spreads. So, how and by what means can you create these circulation spaces? There are two types of circulation spaces: physical space and intangible space. Both are important and play distinct roles. Physical space asterisk refers to specific locations, physical facilities, and infrastructure, such as offices, physical stores, transaction points, direct consultation and support centers, and warehouses. In these spaces, customers can directly interact with the business, salespeople, products, and services, engaging in real-person, real-thing interactions. This type of space helps customers feel more trusting and secure, and also receive quicker support when needed. Intangible space asterisk refers to spaces built upon technological applications, such as online stores, storefronts on e-commerce platforms, social media platforms, and websites. Additionally, intangible space exists in the form of word of mouth in customers' thoughts and habits. If a product or service is highly popular, it can even become a characteristic or culture within a community. Therefore, we need to build and expand both physical and intangible circulation spaces. In practice, intangible circulation spaces often yield higher efficiency. This is because they are incredibly vast and not limited by geographical distance, time, service capacity, and have low or even free costs. When building circulation spaces, you need to pay attention to some principles. The space must be easily recognizable. Whether it's a physical or intangible space, you must do this well. Customers passing along a road should be able to identify where your store is located, or at least know that your store exists on that road. Online shoppers should also easily recognize and find your store within a marketplace. Products should be arranged scientifically for easy selection, interaction, and to view details and customer reviews for greater trust. The space should have unique features that create a distinctive style. The circulation space of a product often significantly impacts customer emotions and helps accelerate purchasing decisions. For example, when you visit a health and wellness center, seeking a quiet space for meditation, relaxation, and rest. If it offers a calm, cozy atmosphere with soft, soothing music and attentive service, you will certainly decide to use the service immediately. Conversely, if the space is noisy, bustling, or the music is too loud, you will certainly feel it's unsuitable and leave. The same applies to intangible spaces. Each customer segment, each target audience will have specific needs and preferences. If you sell products to seniors, your online store should use gentle color schemes. Conversely, if you sell products to children, the colors can be more vibrant and diverse. The circulation space is the first thing that affects customer perception and leaves a lasting impression in their minds. The circulation space should be friendly. Friendliness and suitability will help customers feel at ease and more open, more comfortable, and can also attract them to keep coming back to you. For example, customers go to a restaurant. Even if the food is delicious, but the seating arrangement is inconvenient, making customers uncomfortable, they will not prioritize returning next time. Conversely, if the restaurant has both delicious food and a pleasant, comfortable, cozy, spacious, and private atmosphere, customers will certainly return and may even bring their friends and family. The circulation space should feel familiar to customers. Even if new customers visit your store for the first time, they should still feel a sense of familiarity, as if they've been there before or seen it somewhere. You could design a small corner with a classic or popular style that most customers have encountered. Or you could display objects, mementos to evoke customers' past memories. This will help customers feel familiar and elicit fondness and positive emotions. For example, if you open a bookstore, in addition to modern works, you could display old books, famous classics, or storybooks that left a deep impression on many generations during their childhood. Or if you sell clothes for middle-aged or older customers, you could display some prominent designs that were fashion trends in their youth. They will surely be delighted and feel a sense of familiarity and closeness. This will leave a deeper impression on customers. Enhance customer accessibility and service, asterisk. If customers regularly see your business's image everywhere and receive even the smallest help, they will feel fond of and remember your business. You can increase your reach through influential brand ambassadors, community activities, helping those in need, or underprivileged children. Additionally, your brand name can be printed on fans, hats, umbrellas, or raincoats so customers can carry them anywhere. And when they use them, they are also spreading your brand for you. Furthermore, depending on the product's characteristics and the business's capabilities, you can choose and design a circulation space that is suitable and most effective. Asterisk Chapter 5. Building a system for your values. A business system is like the roots and branches of a large tree, like the brain and skeleton of a body. The trunk and branches help the tree stand firm and support all the leaves, flowers, and fruits on it, while also serving as a bridge to transport nutrients from the roots to nourish them. The skeleton supports the body, allowing it to walk, move, and do everything. The brain controls the activity of all parts of the body. Similarly, a system creates sustainable cohesion for the business, helping departments and units operate smoothly, consistently, and coordinate harmoniously. A system is also the basis for expanding scale and scope of operations, while also demonstrating professionalism and the heart of the leader. A business system also comes in two forms, intangible and tangible, or using the terms superstructure and infrastructure for this case. The intangible or superstructure includes the ideological system, core values, business philosophy, culture, rules, regulations, and development plans of the business. The tangible or infrastructure includes factories, enterprises, workshops, distribution systems, stores, transaction points, storage facilities, and product circulation spaces. Looking at the core values, business philosophy, or corporate culture, one can see the leader's mindset. This mindset is expressed through the smallest actions of the lowest level employee, such as the bow of a security guard or the smile of a receptionist. These seemingly minor things sometimes determine the survival and development of a business, and usually the intangible determines the tangible. Thus, you need to create consistency within your business's system, from the ideological system to the organizational structure, rules, and regulations, all the way to the actions of every member. At the same time, you need to be serious and exemplary in implementation to set an example for your subordinates. I have built my business with a consistent and synchronized system, which has yielded quite high efficiency. Although it is a relatively young business, it has achieved certain successes and established its position in the book industry, standing alongside long-established veteran businesses in the field. Below are some suggestions you can refer to. Regarding ideology, philosophy, and core values in business, they should aim to serve society, bring benefits to the community, and help society become more civilized and happier. Because only by embracing the mission of serving society can we have the spirit of dedication and work wholeheartedly, with the motivation to overcome challenges. At the same time, by serving society, we will also be embraced and supported by society to achieve success faster. Try to observe in reality how businesses that provide services and products that serve society, help society develop, and become more civilized and happier, all become strong and reputable businesses, some even heroic enterprises of the nation. Examples include providers of telecommunication networks, internet, information technology, export, transportation, and agricultural product exports. You can choose any field, but as long as you put your heart into it, with compassion to serve the community, you will surely succeed, and of course, you will turn everything you choose into money. Regarding systems, infrastructure, and circulation spaces, they should be designed to be compact and streamlined. Focusing on value, quality, and utilizing intangible spaces will help you reduce the burden of management and also bring higher efficiency. Today, thanks to the support of science, technology, and the internet, we have many useful tools and means. The key is to be agile in grasping information and applying it intelligently and appropriately to create results. Many e-commerce platforms have emerged and achieved brilliant success, earning huge profits. However, not a few similar businesses have suffered losses and struggled because they didn't know how to optimize their operations. Therefore, building a system for a business is also a very important factor that needs to be emphasized from the beginning and maintained regularly. Chapter 6, Serving with All Your Heart. As we discussed earlier, serving society should be a goal and an essential element in the business philosophy and core values of an enterprise. Even when transforming everything into money, it should begin with serving society. Many people believe that they must be wealthy to help others, so they prioritize enriching themselves first. Only when they are affluent will they contribute to society. However, to become wealthy, we need societal support, interaction with society, and to be valuable to society. For example, if you want income, you either work for others to earn a salary or you sell goods to others for profit. Basically, money is only created through the interaction and exchange of value among people in society. So, if we want to receive a lot of money, we must give a lot of value. These values serve the interests of others, the community, and society. But let's work with a spirit of service, not just simply providing products and services to receive money. When we work with a spirit of service, we put our heart into it, along with good intentions, a sense of responsibility, and intense focus. This way, every product we create will undoubtedly be of good quality, highly applicable, and suitable. This will certainly help us succeed faster, and at the same time, our work will become more meaningful. We will feel happiness in every moment of life, not just waiting until we have a lot of money to enjoy life and find happiness. Because happiness is a journey, not a destination. If everyone in society performed every task with a spirit of service, thinking of others, that society would have reached a high level of human civilization, where there would only be love and happiness. Looking at an individual's actions can assess the level of civilization of a society. For example, a country where people litter indiscriminately, waste clean water and food, behave rudely, and lack self-control in public will create negative consequences for society. At the same time, their work will not be wholehearted and will not yield high value or efficiency. Thus, the country's economy will be underdeveloped, and those very citizens will suffer disadvantages, shortages, and hardships. Conversely, in a country where every citizen always maintains cleanliness, knows how to sort trash even before discarding it to ease the burden on sanitation workers, and in all their actions, also thinks of those who come after them, much time and effort will be saved for economic development, and they themselves will be the beneficiaries. In the field of food production, for example, a food processor with a spirit of service will work meticulously, ensuring food safety and hygiene, deliciousness, nutrition, and wholesomeness, bringing benefits to consumers. Society will see a reduced incidence of illness and healthcare costs. The budget can then be used for other societal development purposes, and the vendor themselves will also benefit. Simultaneously, they will have more customers and higher incomes. If you are wondering where to start, how to begin creating value and serving society, you just need to remember that whatever you have compassion for, serve that cause. You can choose tasks that align with your abilities and resources. For example, you see many people regularly traveling on motorbikes in the scorching midday sun, hot, tired, and thirsty. You feel compassion for them and want to do something to help. If you cannot invent complex cooling machines, you can design smart cooling garments, like a shirt with a soft frame that creates ventilation with air holes, using heat-resistant fabric and reflective paint, combined with a wide-brimmed hat that can be detached and used as a handheld fan when needed. If your capabilities are even higher, you can design small motors powered by batteries or heat, based on physics achievements like heat sensors, converting thermal energy into electrical energy, using outdoor temperature as the primary fuel, with small fans or air conditioners. Or if your capabilities are even higher, you can innovate or invent and develop application methods that help people resolve everything without leaving their homes. For instance, using autonomous robots and an internet-connected controller, artificial intelligence. It is certainly very difficult to turn an idea into reality. Even with existing methods, just using raw materials and labor to create something is already very challenging. Inventing something that no one has ever done before is 100 times harder. Sometimes your ideas might even be considered eccentric, bizarre, foolish, or unfeasible by others. Therefore, if your compassion is not great enough, if your desire has not become a burning aspiration, if your spirit of service is not strong enough, you will give up at the very beginning. Look at Edison's example. He tried 10,000 different ways, not just a few hundred. If he hadn't had unwavering faith and determination, he probably would have given up long ago, and perhaps the world would never have heard of a genius like him. And certainly, in the process of creation to discover truth, he must have encountered many unsupportive opinions or those who didn't believe he would succeed. Only when he discovered the truth and brought light that changed humanity were his efforts truly recognized. Therefore, always nurture compassion and remain steadfast and persistent in overcoming all difficulties to achieve success. Chapter 7, Social Spirit and Responsibility. Perhaps many of us, caught up in personal goals, forget about social responsibility. Some even believe that responsibility to society is the business of national leaders, large corporations, and the affluent. Or they think, when I am in a better position, when I have more, I will contribute to society. In reality, social spirit and responsibility are not about how much money we donate or contribute, but about our daily words, actions, and deeds. For example, saving electricity, water, gasoline, and gas. That is conserving national resources. Maintaining environmental cleanliness, not littering indiscriminately, not burning harmful materials that pollute the air, that is protecting the environment. Not smoking, not drinking alcohol, not using or trading stimulants or banned substances that endanger health, that is protecting societal health. Not using profanity or causing disturbance in public. Not using or spreading unhealthy cultural products, living harmoniously, kindly, compassionately, forgivingly, and lovingly towards family members and society at large. That is protecting the culture of society. In addition to performing these actions, we also spread, promote, and encourage others to do the same. Depending on your abilities and the scope of your relationships, you can demonstrate social responsibility in appropriate ways. For example, if you are a homemaker, you live lovingly and harmoniously with your family members, saving electricity and water bills each month. If you are a teacher, you can practice and spread social responsibility among your colleagues, students, and their parents. If you are a business owner, you practice and spread that responsibility to your employees, customers, and partners. And if you are a local leader, you also have social responsibility towards that locality. As we mentioned earlier, the more we serve, the more value we create for society, the more money we generate. Because we deserve to be rewarded by society commensurate with our contributions. Therefore, if you want to turn everything into money to become truly successful, wealthy, and happy, then serve and work with a great spirit and responsibility towards society. Do not worry that your abilities are insufficient or that you are small. Instead, act to become greater. People are not superior to each other by physique or money. They only become great through their spirit and contributions. Social responsibility plays an important role in human life because it 1. Creates a better society. If every individual is responsible for their actions and society, problems will be minimized, and a united community will be built. 2. Helps build a conscious individual. A person with a social spirit of responsibility is someone who is conscious and aware of their responsibility towards themselves, their family, the community, and the environment. 3. Helps us make smart and correct decisions. A sense of responsibility helps us make smart and correct decisions, limiting negative consequences and contributing to the sustainable development of society. 4. Helps build good relationships. A sense of responsibility helps us build good relationships with others, respecting and helping them, creating a positive and happy living environment. 5. Helps develop economy and society. In business and politics, a sense of responsibility helps make smart and responsible decisions. thereby promoting economic and social development. 6. Helps protect the environment. Asterisk, a sense of responsibility helps protect the environment, minimizing polluting actions and creating a clean and beautiful living environment. Thus, the social responsibility of each individual plays a very important role in creating a good society and people, helping to solve problems and contributing to the sustainable development of society and humanity. To perfect and become a person with social responsibility, each of us needs to implement the basic principles below in our every action, no matter who we are. Take personal responsibility. Asterisk, this includes work, study, health, and family relationships. Keep promises. Keeping promises is both a good quality and an expression of a responsible person. A responsible person keeps their promises and fulfills their commitments and will not carelessly or irresponsibly break them. Be willing to accept social responsibility. Asterisk, we need to recognize and accept our responsibility towards society, including contributing to the community and helping others, such as paying taxes or participating in organizations that serve the interests of the community and society. Respect ethics and law. Asterisk, a responsible person adheres to ethical and legal regulations. In other words, they are a person who lives ethically and purely. This helps them live peacefully, happily, and always be free. Be ready to face consequences. Asterisk, a responsible person faces the consequences of their actions, including accepting responsibility and finding ways to remedy the consequences. Contribute to sustainable development. Compared to accepting social responsibility, this is a voluntary contribution stemming from compassion, a desire to contribute to the overall sustainable development of society and the environment through meaningful and responsible actions that help protect the environment and improve people's lives. Human history has recorded that those with a high sense of social responsibility achieve greater success. Those who are willing to sacrifice personal interests and dedicate their entire lives to their country, society, or humanity are mostly great figures and famous personalities. President Ho Chi Minh was such a person. His social spirit and responsibility stemmed from boundless love for his nation, so even when his career and life were fulfilled, becoming the leader of a country, he tirelessly worried for his country and people until the end of his life, striving for a prosperous and developed nation and a perpetually happy and abundant populace. His happiness was seeing his people happy. Thus, each of us, whether we achieve great feats that benefit many families or only play a role within our families, can bear the spirit and social responsibility, contributing to the nation and humanity. Part 3, 36 Transformations for Practical Application. In this next part of the book, I will dedicate the entire content to discussing specific ideas and transformations to turn everything into money, based on the readily available materials in our lives. This is so you can use them as a basis to create new products and services that benefit the community and society. Let's reiterate that the formula for turning everything into money is to use resources combined with ideas and solutions stemming from compassion to create and develop one or more different revenue streams, thereby building automated and easily replicable systems. Resources have many different levels, and each person's ability to create ideas varies, based on their knowledge, mindset, and experience. Level 1, Ideas Transformations. Transformation 1, Subject Tea Plant. A perennial industrial crop, a mainstay of Vietnamese agriculture, providing a beverage with many health benefits. Current situation, asterisk, there are many shortcomings and limitations in production and processing, such as a lack of high-quality products that meet market demand, excessive pesticide and stimulant residues, inconsistent collection and transportation processes, prolonging duration and reducing raw material quality. Exported products are primarily in raw form, leading to low prices. Low prices discourage farmers from focusing on product quality, leading them to use growth stimulants to increase yield for higher income. In the long run, this harms consumer health, enterprise reputation, and the tea industry as a whole. When consumers turn away from tea, it leads to business bankruptcies, unemployment and loss of income for farmers, and waste of precious natural resources. The tea plant, which is very beneficial for health, and the fertile lands suitable for tea production. Solution: increase the value of tea products by improving production and processing methods, enhancing quality to raise prices appropriately, creating circulation spaces, and spreading value. Package the formula for replication. Specifically, to increase product value, you can filter and select tea varieties that can be processed into premium tea and vigorously cultivate specialty teas with delicious flavors like tan quang tea, lotus tea, or bat tine tea. At the same time, ensure a clean, natural production and processing process. The product must be absolutely safe for consumers, meeting the demands of even the most discerning customers. You can guide farmers to pre-process tea right at home, such as pan-frying the tea leaves after harvesting to ensure freshness and preserve flavor and quality. To spread the product, you can tell the story of your journey to bring local specialties to the world in the most profound and delicate way, so customers empathize with your concerns and join you in spreading the value. Promote the product with the most authentic, real-life, and emotional images of the tea region, tea growers, the production and processing process, and the dedication of the people who make the product. Additionally, add new values, such as infusing it with flowers like lotus to create a special aroma, combined with suitable natural herbs to enhance health benefits for users. For convenience, package the product in various forms suitable for different users, such as instant milk tea, tea bags, tea powder, or green tea cakes. Pre-portion it for single use, accompanied by a collapsible cup and spoon set. For circulation space, you can design physical tea tasting spaces where customers can enjoy tea, relax, meet, discuss business, or find an ideal weekend destination. At the same time, you need to expand intangible circulation spaces such as storefronts on e-commerce platforms, create websites to introduce products, organize online events, and post images, videos, articles, and introductions on social media platforms. When the product truly satisfies and touches customers' emotions, it will certainly have a positive effect. At that point, you can launch campaigns to create social trends, such as a campaign to preserve, protect, and promote the flavors of nature and the essence of the nation. And perhaps handcrafted milk tea or fragrant cups of steaming tea in the early morning mist will become common sights for customers of all ages. From there, the traditional Vietnamese culture of drinking and appreciating tea will be preserved and further innovated in many forms. Resources are already abundant: large tea-growing areas, diligent farmers, existing large processing plants, and beverage shops. They are ready to adapt their production models to meet market demand if your solution proves effective. Transformation 2. Subject: sea salt ***. Natural resource exploited from the ocean. Current situation: although salt production is a long-standing traditional craft that has sustained generations in the country, and despite the advantage of thousands of kilometers of coastline with all favorable factors for salt production, the salt industry has not yielded high economic efficiency. Salt farmers work extremely hard, but the rewards they receive are not commensurate with their efforts. Many salt farmers even abandon their profession to seek other livelihoods or switch to different forms of production, while the country still has to import salt from other countries. Part of the reason is that manual production processes and inadequate preservation lead to low quality, impurities, and thus low prices. Small-scale production models, lacking linkages, make it difficult to develop strongly and sustainably. Despite the arduous production, a good harvest often leads to falling prices. Solution: depending on each person's capacity and creativity, you can create solutions to address specific aspects of the problem. If you have unique ideas, you could find materials to extract salt more efficiently and compactly, or build automated, faster, and more productive transportation systems to reduce the labor burden on salt farmers. For example, in manual production, people manually transport salt-laden sand by scooping and carrying, then drying and filtering it through many laborious steps. If there were a material that could absorb and become saturated with salt 10 or 100 times faster, and more than sand, dry quicker, separate salt more easily, and even filter impurities more effectively, and be reusable after salt harvesting, then production would become much easier. Alternatively, you could design an automated filtering and pipeline system using motors to achieve better productivity. Similarly, you could innovate a salt production line for industrial use. If you cannot create such production systems, you can still offer solutions to increase the price of salt products by adding value. For example, 1 kg of ordinary table salt costs 5 units of currency. Customers need to process it for various uses. Instead, if we produce salt based on the specific usage needs of different customer groups, allowing them to use it immediately without processing, consumption will certainly be higher. For instance, in addition to cooking salt, we can add spices to create dipping salts, mixing salts, or seasoning salts for different types of food. Herbal salts for healthcare, or salts supplemented with trace elements. In this way, 1 kg of salt could be sold for 50 units of currency, or even 500. And similarly, we choose diverse packaging with many designs suitable for the usage needs of different customer groups to ensure convenience and optimal preservation of the product. Of course, it's essential to tell a story to impress customers and promote the product through brand ambassadors to inform consumers, creating circulation spaces to spread the product. Any food or fruit stall, healthcare facility, or beauty salon can become a physical circulation space for the product. For intangible circulation space, you can follow the same approach as in the first transformation. Transformation 3, subject water. Natural resource, both infinite and finite. Current situation, *** water, like air, light, and temperature, is a crucial element determining the life of humans and all species. When humans were born, water already existed on Earth, and creation still provides alternating rain and sunshine for living things to grow, adapt, and develop. However, as humanity progresses, it increasingly creates imbalances in nature, leading to severe climate change with serious consequences that humans must face in the future. The reality is that widespread pollution due to uncontrolled domestic and industrial wastewater discharge is making clean water increasingly scarce, seriously affecting human health and life. Additionally, the breakdown of geological strata in some areas exacerbates landslides and flash floods during heavy rains. Solution: if you are an influential person with the ability to implement regulations and procedures for water management and protection, you can coordinate with management agencies and local authorities to raise public awareness. However, if you are an ordinary citizen, you can still contribute creative ideas and smart, effective solutions to solve the problem. For example, you could design a wastewater filtration system with different layers of materials at factories and industrial zones so that discharged water becomes safe and non-polluting for the environment. The same applies to domestic wastewater. Additionally, you can create interesting, humorous, or touching stories in the form of audio and visual media, communicated through available channels, to help people raise awareness about preserving and protecting water resources. You can also choose to provide clean water products, purified water, or compact, portable water filters that anyone can use and carry on long journeys. Even simpler, you can offer convenient beverages like vegetable and fruit juices or mineral-enriched drinks. Although countless people already operate in this field, if your product carries passion and a burning desire, and customers see your compassion for the nation's agricultural products and the health benefits for the community, they will readily support you and join you in spreading good values every day. Transformation 4, subject rice. A common and staple food of the country. Current situation, although this is a key economic sector that has received investment for strong development, you can still absolutely choose this field to develop, contribute to society, and create success for yourself. Rice is a daily essential food for every family. Farmers toil under the sun and moon, covered in mud and sweat, working hard to produce pristine white grains of rice. But the truth is, the fruits of their labor are often meager compared to what traders earn. Many have to abandon their fields to work as laborers or factory workers to earn money for their livelihoods. It is very difficult for them to become wealthy with their land. This is a paradox. Solution: you can help farmers increase the value of their rice grains and multiply their income by 5 to 10 times if you provide them with smart, effective, and easy to implement solutions. Instead of selling raw rice grains at low prices, they can create exquisite gifts of nature, imbued with the soul of the land, such as handmade green rice flakes, calm, flavored, roasted crispy or soft, wrapped in beautiful lotus leaves, cakes or other snacks made from rice flour, nutritious rice porridges, or fresh, attractive rice noodles, bun, pho. These are mostly traditional national dishes that farmers can certainly make very well and deliciously. It's just that they lack outlets for their products. They need people to connect and spread them. If you can create circulation spaces for these products, communicate and build a brand name, then the market for you is not small at all. You will not only help hardworking farmers increase the value of their products and their income, but you will also help street vendors and sidewalk eateries attract more customers, providing them with stable jobs and income each month. You can also contribute to developing the nation's culinary industry, making it a beautiful cultural feature, no longer fragmented, small-scale, chaotic, or unsanitary. This can certainly generate money, bringing you success and happiness. Transformation 5. Subject natural herbs asterisk. An incredibly abundant resource of the country. Current situation, asterisk. Perhaps everyone knows that our country has an incredibly rich and diverse source of natural herbs and medicinal plants, yet they are being neglected and wasted every day. More accurately, many people are unaware of their uses, and one could even say, without exaggeration, that many people die on a pile of medicine. There have been articles reporting that some herbs in Vietnam, considered weeds, are sold for hundreds or thousands of dollars in developed countries. Indeed, a lack of knowledge is always a disadvantage in all fields. Solution: asterisk. If you are an expert in traditional Eastern medicine, you can develop the field of healthcare on a systematic and professional scale. However, if you are not a medical practitioner, you can still learn about the uses of various herbs and process them into health-supporting products that are both safe and convenient. For example, most of us may know about the benefits of the cagailio plant, but not everyone has the time and patience to gather the raw materials, dry them, and brew them every day. Therefore, a pre-packaged cagailio tea bag, simply added to a cup with hot water, will certainly be a customer's choice when needed. And with countless such herbs, suitable for so many different customer segments, this represents a large and potential market for you to tap into. You will also help the country develop an additional economic sector, create jobs for many people, and at the same time, preserve and develop the nation's medicinal resources. The important thing is whether the solution you offer truly brings results. If it is truly optimal, the resources are infinite. Vast tracts of land, diligent farmers, simple production processes that any factory can meet, countless beverage shops, sidewalk stalls, mobile drink carts, and general stores can all become circulation spaces for your product. So, create something special and impressive to make your brand unique. Transformation 6. Subject skill training. Let's temporarily set aside the field of agricultural products and natural ingredients mentioned above. We'll move on to another area, skill training. Indeed, this is not a new field, but it is a very broad one with many small niches for you to exploit and develop. The more society develops, the more diverse the market becomes, and the more opportunities you have to pursue. You just need to choose the right field that suits you and develop it using the correct methods, and success will come easily. Each of us, though perhaps not skilled in many areas, certainly has a unique strength in one particular field, and you are undoubtedly better than many others in your own area. Especially if your skills are honed through real-life experiences over your growing years, you can absolutely turn them into money. For example, if you are a skilled gardener, you have expertise in choosing seeds, preparing soil, fertilizers, cultivation techniques, pest control, and methods to make plants bear many flowers and fruits. For those not in this field, such knowledge may not hold much value, but for those starting such work, the knowledge you impart to them is immensely valuable. Similarly, there are countless other professions such as growing flowers and ornamental plants, raising animals and pets, art, music, sports, teaching, and repair. Utilize available resources such as technology platforms and social media to reach customers and spread your values to the community. Remember that only when the values you give truly bring positive benefits can they develop long-term and sustainably. Therefore, pay attention to the educational, ethical, and humanistic elements. Absolutely do not use negative, nonsensical, uneducational information or exploit gimmicks to attract the attention of customers, audiences, because sooner or later, such things will be eliminated according to the general development trend of society. Transformation 7. Subject consulting. Unlike skill training, consulting helps customers solve specific problems or dilemmas in particular situations. This knowledge and problem-solving approach may not be found in any training materials or theoretical lectures. Rather, it deals with issues that arise specifically for individuals during implementation or in real-world circumstances. This requires experts with specialized knowledge and experience to accurately analyze and provide advice. Therefore, you can absolutely earn money with what you have. For example, consulting services on law, policy, legal matters, or economic contract clauses. On a larger scale, you can work with service linkage models. For instance, you can gather many service providers in various fields, combining with solution providers to quickly and conveniently solve customer problems. For example, after consulting on procedures, continue to provide the service of carrying out those procedures for the customer. However, you also need to remember that whatever you do must be based on the supremacy of law, ethics, and humanism, not engaging in wrongful acts such as exploiting legal loopholes or falsifying information that could affect the state, society, or customers. Because only by helping the country develop can you develop yourself. Transformation 8. Subject manpower supply. You can earn a lot of money if you have a good source of human resources acting as a third party. Remember that hiring employees and then subcontracting them does not mean you are profiting from their labor. In reality, you are a bridge, a service provider, and you solve many problems for society. First, you solve the difficult, cumbersome, and costly human resource management challenge for businesses. Businesses only need a core operating team to focus on building production strategies, reducing the pressure of managing employees, their benefits, and salaries, especially during times when businesses face difficulties or production plans decrease. Second, for employees, they can flexibly change jobs to suit their health, abilities, strengths, and family circumstances while still ensuring their rights during periods when companies reduce staff due to decreased production plans. They can rotate to other companies with higher production plans to increase income, or work seasonally to combine with family care and agricultural production at home. Thus, you are a third party, acting as a bridge to support businesses, ensure employee rights, and balance the supply and demand of the labor market, helping all industries develop harmoniously, and society pays you fairly for the value you provide. With the current rapid and diverse development of industries, changes happen quickly, and the demand for seasonal and part-time jobs, combined with additional work, is very high. If you meet the criteria for service quality, trustworthiness, responsibility, and dedication, you will certainly achieve success and happiness in your work. You can develop this model in physical spaces in industrial parks, urban areas, and even rural areas, with many supply services such as seasonal workers for companies, environmental sanitation services, domestic help services, elderly care services, plant care services, and farm animal care. In intangible spaces, you can develop part-time job centers, project-based freelance work for creativity, design, painting, music, writing, and translation. It can be said that any industry greatly needs such services. You can absolutely grow a small business into a large, influential enterprise in this field by connecting individuals and high-quality service providers. Your clients can also be reputable and established businesses and corporations with large and regular needs. Because ultimately, what clients want to receive is work efficiency and product quality. What employees want is high income and a job that suits their abilities and strengths. They have the right to choose whether to work or not, depending on their capacity and available time. And for some jobs, clients can work from home, anytime, anywhere via the internet. This will save a lot of time and cost for all parties while still bringing high efficiency. Transformation 9. Subject used goods. Moving to a field quite familiar to all of us where you can freely create and turn things into money, used goods. Surely you've heard many impressive stories like Scrap Metal Tycoon, Recycling King, or recycled fashion. These stories surely evoke admiration for creativity and surprise at the large profits derived from these cheap raw materials. This shows us that money earned is not directly proportional to the initial investment capital, but proportional to creativity and business acumen. Used goods always have a much lower value than their original price, and many items cannot even be sold. In the eyes of those without expertise or recycling ability, these items should be discarded as soon as possible to free up space in the home and replace them with new ones. However, most of these items are only broken in one part, or if they cannot be repaired, many other parts can still be recycled. For example, a rice cooker with a broken thermostat cannot cook rice, but its heating plate or outer shell can still be perfectly used. So, if you have two rice cookers with two different broken parts, you can still assemble them into one functional rice cooker. And even with the same function, a recycled rice cooker costs many times less than a new one, and many customers still prioritize it for its price. Some repaired and replaced items are even better than new ones if the replaced part is of good quality. Or some metal and plastic parts in old items can still be recycled to create new products. Especially in the fashion industry, today's youth constantly change fashion styles according to new trends, leading to a huge amount of discarded clothing, greatly affecting the environment and wasting societal resources. It's noteworthy that some products made of good materials with intricate designs and high value are used very few times or even never used. But once they become used, their value drops significantly or becomes zero. Ultimately, usage here is actually just about using the form, design, or style of the product. So, when its design, style, and appearance are replaced, it becomes a new item and its value increases many times over. Clearly, if you are a craftsman, someone with aesthetic sense and skillful hands, this is a fertile ground for you to earn money, not just once, but many times over. Thus, those who repair, recycle, and redesign have solved an economic problem for consumers, while also limiting waste of money, effort, and resources for society, reducing waste discarded into the environment, and generating profit for themselves. And this work, in all eras, should be done and can develop eternally with the progress of society. Transformation 10. Subject: Children's Toys. With children's toys, you can fully unleash your creativity without being overly concerned about product features, functions, or performance. As long as it's something children like, a little strange, a little colorful, safe, friendly, and helps stimulate development of colors, numbers, and letters, that's enough. Children who have many toys will be happy, joyful, and learn many things. However, the children's toy market is currently flooded with smuggled products from abroad made with toxic materials. And premium products are not affordable for every family. So, if you can design affordable toy products using readily available natural materials like cardboard, lightweight wood, or dried flowers, mimicking traditional folk games or reflecting the imaginative creativity of children, you will surely receive support from young customers and their parents. You can even commission young designers, as children are the ones who best understand aesthetic trends and customer tastes, and then sell to other customers. Every creation brings novelty. Not being a copy, it helps adults understand the world of children and pay more attention to them. This is also how you contribute to the development of the nation's future generation. Transformation 11. Subject: Waste. Are you surprised when I mention this? Can we turn waste into money? Yes, indeed. Did you know that many people still earn their living daily from landfills? Many things we consider waste and discard without mercy still have value and can generate money. For example, empty bottles, cans, plastic bags, paper, plastic, fabric, metal. Perhaps for some, these things are not worth much money, so they don't care. But if these things are viewed with a holistic perspective and through the lens of compassion, we will recognize many problems within them. First, it's wasteful because many things can be reused and only a portion of them are collected by waste pickers, while the rest are disposed of in one way or another. Most of these materials are created by society's resources, labor, and money. And while we strive to earn money daily through sweat and arduous effort, we simultaneously discard it in a highly wasteful manner. Second, regarding environmental issues, we are daily destroying our own natural living environment and that of our future generations. Waste management, and the consequences of environmental pollution also consume a huge budget and a massive workforce. Everyone understands the harm of indiscriminate waste disposal, but almost everyone finds daily waste sorting difficult to implement. So, if that waste could be sold for enough money to make people feel it has value, they would certainly voluntarily sort it as soon as they start to discard it. This would also save society a lot of costs. Depending on your role and influence in the society you live in, you can contribute to society in appropriate ways. You can be a daily scrap collector. You can also open a collection and preliminary processing workshop to create raw materials. Then, you supply these raw materials to other manufacturing businesses. At a higher level, you can have recycling plants and produce new products to supply the market. At an even higher level, you can create an ecosystem of natural products that can be continuously reused without discarding waste into the environment. For example, bags not made of nylon but of natural materials. After use, they can be repurposed as cleaning cloths, then composted for plants, or organic waste bins integrated with an on-site waste treatment system that converts waste into organic fertilizer, which can be directly used in fields. Transformation 12, open for your ideas. I dedicate this 12th transformation to you, so you can choose a subject and come up with the most unique ideas based on your observations of everything happening around your life. There are countless things around you, and it seems anything can be turned into money if you add value to it, right? Write down your ideas here to start bringing them to life. Level 2, innovations. At this second level, the solutions you propose will not simply address immediate problems or small-scale objects like a specific product. Instead, you need to present innovations to solve long-term, strategic problems for an entire industry, a system, at a macro level, and that can be applied for decades or even centuries. Below are specific examples. Transformation 13, subject culture, entertainment, publishing. We all know that spiritual culture is a very important part of individual and societal life. Generally, no one can live a purely materialistic life. Besides basic needs for food, drink, work, and study, people also need to play, entertain, relax, and rest to rejuvenate their labor power. Depending on each person's circumstances, these needs are met in different ways. Those with good economic conditions can travel, explore the world, relax, and dine at high-end, expensive services. Those with lower economic conditions can choose simpler, less expensive entertainment venues and eateries. And some people don't need to go anywhere. They choose to entertain themselves and update information through television, radio, books, or smartphones at home. Whatever the form, the important thing is that what they receive brings them comfort and peace of mind. Therefore, you can choose any niche that you feel most aligns with your values to develop. If you have the means, you can develop large entertainment complexes, luxurious high-end resorts serving high-income customers. On a smaller scale, you can open a restaurant, a coffee shop, or a tea room. Even smaller, you can open a toy store or a souvenir shop. In another niche, you can produce cultural and entertainment products such as films, literary works, art, painting, music, or videos on social media platforms. Where's your heart? What problem do you have compassion for? That's how far you should go. It's not important that you do something grand or spectacular. What matters is what value you bring to society, customers, audiences, and readers, how they receive those things, and how they change to make society better. There have been clear examples where highly costly and laborious cinematic works failed to touch the hearts of viewers as much as a truthful film shot with a phone by an amateur filmmaker. And you must always remember that only things that help society develop in a positive direction will last long and create sustainable success. So, consider this from the very beginning. No matter how great material progress may be, it cannot compare to the progress in human spiritual awareness. Therefore, just one creative idea, one invention, or the discovery of a truth can help humanity advance centuries in its development process. I myself chose the field of culture and publishing to build my career and fulfill my dream and mission. Because I understand that profound understanding will be the door to a bright future for humanity, and cultivating a reading culture is cultivating the path to profound understanding. Transformation 14. Subject technology improvement in industrial production. We all know that industry is always a spearhead sector, playing an important role in the overall economic and social development. Because industrial production yields high productivity, consistent product quality and design, saves costs and labor, and generates high profits. However, the crucial factor lies in production technology. Optimal technology will bring high economic efficiency. Therefore, technological innovation is always a top priority in manufacturing. For example, a prime example of technological improvement in industry is the creation of a new can design that eliminated the need for a can opener. With the new technology, with just a gentle action, customers can open the lid and use it easily, instead of always having to carry an accompanying can opener, which was quite inconvenient. At the same time, with the new technology, manufacturers also save raw materials and can design more compact products, making transportation more convenient. And when this innovation was put into practice, it was widely adopted by most brands due to its convenience and intelligence. Our country has fairly abundant and diverse natural resources. However, we often have to export products in raw form to developed countries because our production technology is still rudimentary, poor, and outdated. Another paradox is that foreign-invested companies located in Vietnam use Vietnam's infrastructure, raw materials, and labor, but their products and profits are taken abroad, generating profits for them. Meanwhile, Vietnamese people only receive a salary that can be said to be not high. That is indeed a great disadvantage for the country. Of course, with the limitations in production technology due to the country's underdeveloped economy, we have to accept that. But certainly, in the future, we will have new innovations in production technology to develop the country's industry in a proactive and sustainable manner. Transformation 15. Subject: Biotechnology. Similar to industrial technology, biotechnology plays a huge role in agriculture, medicine, and human health care. Looking at the current social situation, we can see many inadequacies and problems that society has not yet solved. For example, the issue of food safety. Driven by quantity and profit, many people have disregarded ethics and laws, using growth stimulants, weight gain agents, harmful pesticides, and excessive antibiotics and vaccines, seriously affecting consumer health and leading to a host of intractable diseases. The increasing incidence of disease, coupled with inadequate healthcare facilities and infrastructure, creates a significant burden and consequences for society. Therefore, you can create major breakthroughs for an industry or many industries with innovations in improving or developing new biotechnology that helps solve these problems. For example, good plant and animal breeds, disease treatment methods based on natural immunity, or automated healthcare systems. Transformation 16. Subject: Food processing technology. Along with the accelerating pace of industrialization and commercialization, the food that sustains us daily cannot escape mass production and processing. This implies a reduction in the purity and naturalness of food. In fact, many processing facilities, for profit, use harmful chemicals to process, preserve, and magically transform spoiled food into fresh food. Many foods use entirely artificial ingredients. This completely goes against the laws of nature and will lead to severe, incurable diseases. If you are someone with both expertise and compassion, instead of creating novel, unique products to compete and attract customers, you can create food preservation technologies or processing technologies that help maintain the nutritional value of food, absolutely safe for consumers, to help farmers preserve and process their agricultural products when in season and sell them year-round. This is both consistent with natural laws and helps solve many other societal problems. Transformation 17. Subject: Education. Education is one of the most important factors contributing to the development of any society, nation, or people in the world. The education system helps shape each person's mindset, lifestyle, and work ethic. Our country has undergone many educational reforms to achieve higher efficiency. However, there are still shortcomings that over the years have become significant gaps, difficult to fill overnight. Therefore, if you have expertise and compassion, you can absolutely choose this field to create extraordinary miracles. For example, you can build an educational system that is both simple and effective, with optimal teaching support tools that reduce the burden on teachers and students, creating a happy, healthy learning environment that stimulates interest and passion for discovery, maximizing each individual's abilities and strengths. If the solutions you propose are both easy to implement, effective, and align with the laws of natural and societal development, they will certainly be widely embraced and spread. In this field, you will not need advertising or communication campaigns because every educational institution and individual will readily take on that responsibility. Transformation 18, subject healthcare. Like education, healthcare is one of the most important industries for society in any era. Although science and technology are developing rapidly today, the healthcare industry has also advanced, creating very proud achievements. Modern medical equipment and diagnostic and treatment technologies help people detect and treat difficult-to-diagnose diseases in a timely manner, perform high-precision procedures, and use transplantation techniques to replace body parts that were previously impossible. However, alongside this, we must also acknowledge the reality that there is an overuse of scientific technology and antibiotics in treating common illnesses, leading to a weakening of the human immune system and natural resistance, especially in young children. This will certainly cause future repercussions. Additionally, there are some limitations in the organizational structure, operational apparatus, professional qualifications, responsibility, and professional ethics of a segment within the industry. If you have expertise, vision, and compassion, you will certainly identify these limitations. Instead of blaming, criticizing, or condemning, let's find solutions, improvements, and innovations to overcome these limitations, exploit the country's natural resources. Use the traditional strength of national unity to develop the nation's medical field. For example, you can create vaccines or medications to prevent common illnesses using the country's abundant natural medicinal ingredients. Create a proactive healthcare system for each household or area. Every citizen becomes their own doctor, self-managing their health daily based on specific guidelines. Everyone can recognize symptoms, risks, and knows the most basic first aid in emergencies. This will contribute to improving everyone's health and reducing a significant burden on society. And if the solution you propose is easy to implement, evokes a desire for learning, and creates interest in each person, that solution will quickly become a trend and a culture of health cultivation. Circulation space will not only be limited to healthcare facilities, but also extend to every household, every public place like community centers, parks, and any location. Transformation 19, subject handicrafts. Vietnamese people are inherently skillful and artistic, capable of creating beautiful and useful artisanal products using readily available natural materials. However, with the development of industry, handcrafted items have been replaced by products made from plastic, nylon, and other artificial materials. While offering diverse designs and high durability, this also negatively impacts the environment, while causing the decline of some traditional crafts, leading to job losses for a segment of the population and wasting natural resources. Examples include baskets woven from bamboo, sedge bags, sedge mats, and rattan furniture. So, if you have the ability to help this industry survive and thrive, don't be indifferent. Restore and develop it into a source of income for the country, protecting the environment, greening the land with raw material plants, providing jobs for people, and spreading the artistic values and talents of Vietnamese artisans. That would be truly beneficial, wouldn't it? Transformation 20, subject commerce asterisk. Buying, selling, and exchanging goods are natural needs of all forms of society. As surplus value increases, commerce develops and becomes an important sector for economic growth, helping society become wealthier and more civilized. But as an inevitable law, when development becomes too strong, it brings accompanying challenges. When everyone is caught in the whirlwind of ambition to earn money, fierce competition arises. And many people are willing to use all means, tricks, and ploys to sell goods. Many become rich, but not a few go bankrupt, and the gap between rich and poor deepens. Social relationships also become less harmonious than before. People's inner peace is lost, and social stability is disrupted. Therefore, a compassionate person will not seek out tricks to attract customers or exaggerate product claims to generate sales and demonstrate their business's growth. Instead, they will strive to create a healthy commercial environment. The marketplace should not be a battlefield, but an extended embrace-a handshake of cooperation for shared development, moving the country and humanity forward. If all individuals and businesses prioritize societal and community benefits over personal gain, everyone will be happy and endure, and that truly would be a society worth living in. Transformation 21. Subject: consumer goods. Consumer goods are timeless. People always need and use them daily for their living needs. To make money from this industry, you constantly need to create smart solutions and ideas for products that make them easy for customers to use, saving time, fuel, and costs. For example, preparing a family meal usually involves many steps with various utensils, consuming a lot of time. So, if you design a utensil, a pot, a machine that can cook multiple dishes simultaneously in the same amount of time, or a tool that can pre-process multiple ingredients at once, that would surely be something many people are eagerly awaiting. Alternatively, you could design smart home appliances, shoes, or protective gear. Furthermore, you can offer services like house cleaning, plant care, or building sanitation. This is truly a field where you can unleash your passion and creativity. Transformation 22. Subject: creating raw materials from existing ones. You can base yourself on existing principles to create raw materials and fuels that serve life and production. For example, based on the operating mechanisms of engines and the constituent components of various forms of matter, we can extract and create new raw materials and fuels. For instance, some have successfully used electrolysis to produce hydrogen and oxygen, generating energy to power motorcycles. So, you can absolutely separate oxygen and hydrogen for different purposes, or you can separate the components of other substances and create many raw materials to apply in various fields of life if you are an expert in this area. Don't be afraid to challenge yourself, and don't worry about others' judgments or criticisms of your ideas. All the greatest achievements in the world also originated from small, glimmering ideas in someone's mind. And every idea aimed at benefiting society and humanity deserves to be cherished. Transformation 23. Subject: means of transportation. Humanity has always innovated and built upon existing achievements to create more superior and convenient things. We started with the most primitive vehicles powered by humans or horses, then two-wheeled vehicles with engines, then four-wheeled cars, and then airplanes capable of flying in the sky. The desire to explore and conquer is an unquenchable flame. Therefore, if you dream of becoming an astronaut or are passionate about means of transportation, keep creating with your own ideas. Especially in the current context, traffic congestion in large cities is also a very significant problem affecting economic and social development and life in general. If there were a type of vehicle that allowed people to move easily, quickly, conveniently, and was environmentally friendly, it would certainly be warmly welcomed, and it could completely replace unsuitable types of transportation. Transformation 24. Open for your innovations. I dedicate this transformation to your creations, for I know you harbor many reflections and new ideas from observing everything unfolding in your life. This level 2 will be especially suitable if you currently own a business or lead an organization. You will possess sufficient vision and capability to leverage available resources in the most effective way. Please write your innovations here. Level 3. Discoveries and inventions. While creative ideas can transform the face and quality of an industry or a nation, inventions can create historical turning points, marking shifts and transitions between different stages in the history of a nation, people, or humanity. We have known great inventions that changed the world, such as fire, the wheel, antibiotics, the compass, the light bulb, electricity, the telephone, the internal combustion engine, the airplane, the refrigerator, nuclear energy, and the internet. However, these inventions represent only a very small fraction of humanity's infinite creative capacity. In the future, we will witness even greater inventions, such as the 4 and 5 industrial revolutions and artificial intelligence. Each of us can be a genius if we know how to apply existing foundations and our own creativity. However, we must always remember that everything we create must be for the purpose of serving society, serving humanity, and align with the laws of nature and the universe to be truly sustainable and valuable. Below are specific suggestions, transformations, that you can refer to. Transformation 25, Subject Energy. Energy is a vast and abstract concept that humans have not yet fully explored. We know energy in physics as a quantity characterizing a body's ability to do work, a measure related to the movement of matter, including elementary particles and electromagnetic fields. However, energy is something we cannot see, and it possesses invisible power. Therefore, humans certainly have not yet discovered all forms of energy that exist and operate in nature, the universe, and within each human being. If you are grappling with a problem and believe that there are certainly better, more optimal solutions, persevere and maintain faith on the path to finding the truth. Because great inventions and truth sometimes lie in the simplest, most understandable things, like Newton being hit by an apple or Archimedes observing his body floating in water. Transformation 26, Subject Fuel. Fuel is an indispensable element in human life. It serves the needs of production, daily living, and all life activities. For example, gasoline and oil to operate machinery and vehicles, gas for cooking and food processing, electricity for production and using appliances. Humans have discovered various types of fuel through inventions and created great turning points in history. And certainly, these inventions are not the final limit. There will be many other ways to create different fuels that we will gradually discover. For example, electricity can be generated from wind power, water power, and also from solar energy. And in the future, it may be generated from other resources. Similarly, gas can be extracted from nature, like oil fields, but can also be created by humans through biogas digesters. In the future, we can completely find natural fuels that are safe, environmentally friendly, and readily available. Don't you agree? Transformation 27, Subject Resources. We know of natural resources that bring value to production and economic development, and we focus on exploiting them thoroughly. Many nations even compete, leading to prolonged wars for years. Many places exploit natural resources to depletion, deforesting, and leveling mountains. Factories discharge waste that pollutes the air and water, preventing creatures from thriving. All these actions disrupt the ecological balance in nature, destroying the natural habitat of all species, including humans. This is also the cause of disasters such as tsunamis, earthquakes, floods, landslides, natural calamities, and epidemics. If we continue, we ourselves will suffer the consequences of our own actions. In reality, nature can abundantly sustain all living things. Humans would never feel deprived if they knew how to exploit and use resources properly. At the same time, human understanding is not yet complete. In other words, it is still very limited. We only exploit what we believe can be used. But it is certain that countless other types of resources can be used, which humanity has not yet proven. Furthermore, instead of developing in an industrialized, urbanized, concretized direction that harms nature, we can fully choose safe, gentle, and environmentally friendly production methods. Even if the development speed does not have overly large breakthroughs, it will avoid catastrophic and long-lasting consequences. Therefore, this is also a field where you can create inventions. Transformation 28, Subject Equipment. Equipment comprises useful tools that support human beings in the most optimal ways. The world has changed through smart devices such as audio recorders, video recorders, computers, mobile phones, and health monitors. Today, humans still constantly need to invent more devices to serve life, as there are still many machines that cannot replace humans. So, if you have unique ideas in this field, you can absolutely create inventions. Transformation 29, Subject Medicine. Medicine, as well as vaccines and antibiotics, once created, saved countless lives and marked major turning points in history. In the future, you may also be able to create a type of medicine that can cure intractable diseases, even bring people back from the dead or reverse aging, extending human lifespan. That is quite possible, isn't it? Transformation 30, Subject Biochemical Technology. This is a field that has been applied and has produced admirable results. However, this field is quite vast and still has much room for creativity. We can fully develop it to serve the treatment of diseases and human health care, such as transplantation and cloning. Transformation 31, Subject Structure. History has recorded the pivotal invention of concrete, which made it possible to construct durable and solid architectural structures. You should find formulas to create durable, lightweight, and environmentally friendly structures. This will certainly be an invention that humanity is waiting for. Transformation 32, Subject Application of Real-World Laws. Humans living in nature must all obey the immutable laws of nature. But the reality is that many of us do not understand the operating principles, so we act against those laws. However, many people, even if they understand the laws, are forced to act against them due to their living environment and the pace of society. This will cause immediate or long-term instability, but not everyone can independently recognize and correctly apply the laws. So, if you can design tools to identify and apply laws to life, making their application correct and easy, that would certainly be a valuable invention, helping people orient their actions, much like the compass invented in the past. Simple as it was, it greatly helped humans in finding direction. Transformation 33, Subject Connection. In the past, humans could only connect with each other through direct meetings. When the postal service emerged, people could connect through letters. Then, people connected via telephone, and now through the internet, which eliminates geographical and spatial distances. Surely there are many ways of connecting that humans have not yet invented. So, what are your ideas for this? Do you believe that in the future, we can connect not only through images and sounds, but also through sensations and empathy? Transformation 34, Subject Healing. Modern medicine can cure many diseases with surgery, antibiotics, and medication. However, to a greater or lesser extent, these still cause consequences and affect the natural structure of the human body. Some diseases that modern medicine cannot cure can be healed by other methods, and we can entirely hope for a healing method that does not require the intervention of medical instruments. At any rate, it is a field we need to explore rather than reject. Transformation 35, Subject Human Potential. Most of us perceive, evaluate, and react to the world around us with our 5 main senses. Sometimes we hear about the special abilities of a few people, a sixth sense or some psychic ability. And although there have been real-life stories recorded, they have not been scientifically proven and explained through empirical research, so these things are not yet recognized. We hope that the field of unlocking human potential in the future can help us achieve new successes and breakthroughs. Transformation 84000, asterisk the world is vast, and our understanding is but a drop in the ocean. Therefore, add your values and resources to the formula to create the money you desire. You can turn anything into money by applying the mindset that creates money, helping you achieve true success, wealth, and happiness. From the perspective of a citizen and a steward of the nation, you can identify major issues on a macro scale. However, you can start with the smallest steps, improving the simplest things that align with natural laws. Only when a tree's roots are deep in the soil can it grow strong, bearing sweet fruits, fragrant flowers, and providing shade for life. Part 4, Conclusion. My dear friend, each of us is born and lives on this earth only once. In this world, we are but a speck of dust, existing for a limited time, unable to endure forever. But perhaps none of us want to be born and then die without leaving any mark on life. So, we can only leave that mark through the legacies we create during our time on Earth. We can only achieve greatness through contribution. And to achieve that, we absolutely must have a fervent desire to contribute and boundless compassion. The world's luminaries, the geniuses of humanity, live on through time because of the contributions they made to society, to humanity, not because of their vast fortunes. To achieve these things, they had to sacrifice their entire lives. They had to overcome countless hardships and challenges. And of course, only when they achieved results were they recognized. Otherwise, those hardships and challenges would have been meaningless. So let's not waste the moments we are living. If you have any idea, if you have enough faith that it can become a good solution for society, for the community, then be persistent and unwavering until you achieve results. I hope that what I have shared in this book, with the specific examples above, will be a tool to assist you in finding ideas and developing solutions. I eagerly await the day when I can hear you share about your achievements in the not-too-distant future.